Hello everyone, I'm Aanchal Sharma, your educator. In this video, we are going to discuss about another novelist and she is Arundhati Roy. In this course of the video, we are going to discuss about two novels that are important written by Arundhati Roy. We'll discuss about The God of Small Things and The Ministry of Utmost Happiness written by Arundhati Roy. Let us know something about her. So, Arundhati Roy, a famous author from India, won the Booker Prize for her book The God of Small Things in 1997. The novel is considered to be a semi-autobiographical novel. Arundhati Roy is not only an author but also an activist. This is itself a PYQ. She is also an activist who writes and speaks about the different concerning issues like the environment, non-violence, and also about the human rights. Right, so these are few themes around which the novel would keep on moving. She has written several non-fiction books as well that are famous, like The Cost of Living, The Shape of the Beast, Conversations with Arundhati Roy, The Greater Common Good, then Capitalism, and many other titles are also there. Then the Sahitya Akademi jury chose her book, The Algebra of Infinite Justice, a collection of political essays, for the 2005 Literary Award. But Roy said that she cannot accept the prestigious Sahitya Akademi Award, so she refused to accept it because there was a protest against the Indian government that was going on. So she is Arundhati Roy. This is the photo of Arundhati Roy. She has written important novels like The God of Small Things that received the important Booker Prize, a very prestigious Booker Prize in 1997, which is a semi-autobiographical novel. And then there is The Ministry of Utmost Happiness as well. There are other non-fiction work also, and Sahitya Akademi Award was given to the Algebra of Infinite Jest, but she refused to take it. Then All the Lives We Never Lived is another novel that Roy wrote, and this was published on 14th May 2018 by Hachette India. And in 2022, this was awarded the Sahitya Akademi Award as well. This is a story about Gayatri. Gayatri is the protagonist. She is running and chasing for her own freedom. So the novel is about Mushkin and his mother Gayatri, who was an artist. His mother abandons the family for chasing of freedom. In that time, Nazism came in power. Then an artist from Gayatri's past, who was a German, seeks her out, right? So this is a story and it revolves around Gayatri, and this is the time of Nazism as well. Few things that you should remember. Now I will show you the novels, and then there are some non-fiction work as well. You can take the screenshot and read this with me because dates are important. I have been telling you in the course of the videos again and again. So The God of Small Things came out in 1997. After a huge gap of 20 years, she wrote another novel, The Ministry of Utmost Happiness, about one hijra, and we'll be discussing the story. It came out in 2017. Then we have some non-fiction like The End of Imagination, The Cost of Living, The Greater Common Good, The Algebra of Infinite Jest. This is important because she refused the prize for this book. Then there is Power Politics, War Talk, An Ordinary Person's Guide to Empire, Public Power in the Age of Empire. All these are also important because lesser known works are also asked. So you must have seen the trend of UGC NET, and you will understand that if you are talking about a very famous author, then least important works are asked, right? So definitely these works become important. The dates may be not that important, but you should at least know the name. Then The Checkbook and the Cruise Missile, and The Shape of the Beast, Listening to Grasshopper, Broken Republic, Walking with the Comrades, Kashmir, The Hanging of Avtar Guru, and The Strange Case of the Attack of the Indian Parliament, Capitalism, A Ghost Story. These are few works that are important. Then The Doctor and the Saint, then Azadi. These are some of the works that you should know, and this is a very recent work as well. So Azadi, Freedom, Fascism and Fiction. This is itself a work written by Arundhati Roy. Now, The God of Small Things. The God of Small Things is a story of a Christian family from Kerala. So this is a story about a Christian family from Kerala. The book is divided into 21 different chapters of various lengths. So it's a huge bulky book. The God of Small Things in many ways is a meditation on the different kinds of violence that are imposed when boundaries are crossed. So here boundaries, we are not talking about geographical boundaries, but boundaries of what humans are expected to do, boundaries of what the upper class maybe or the classes around you want you to follow. So there is a violation of love. The boundaries of love are crossed because two fraternal twins will make love with one another. They will fall in love with one another. The novel questions who should be loved, how should be, how you should love them, who decides whom to love and whom not to love. Right. So there are characters like Baby Kochamma, Amma, Veluth, and there is Chaco, there is Margaret, there is Sophie, Rahel, Esther. All of them suffer at least different kinds of anxiety. There is dislocation, and in some cases there are internal and external violence as well. So this is a story about violence, about love, about identity, about whom to love, whom not to love. It's a novel about the crisis that goes on inside the mind of a female, because all the characters that are male are basically violent as well. They are violent. Okay. So there are characters like Rahel. Rahel is the girl here. And then there is Esther. Esther is a boy. So they are fraternal. So they are twins, but they do not look alike. So this is the fraternal twins. Both are 31 years old when they will meet in 1991. So two dates that are very important we will be discussing. One is 1969 and another is 1993. So these two dates are important. Then we have Ammu. So this is she is the mother of the twins, born in 1942, married to Baba and then divorced because Baba was an abusive person. Daughter to Machama and to Machi and Pachi. Right. So she is the daughter to Machi and Pachi. She was married to Baba, but Baba ke saath she got divorced because Baba was a very abusive person. Right. Then there is the Baby Kochamma. Baby Kochamma, it is not her name, but it is the reverence and the respect that is paid to her. Her name is Naomi Epe, and the Rachel and Esther's grandmother, and she is also the sister and she is also the grandfather's sister who used to live with them. So Kochamma is not a name, as I told you, but it is an honorable status that is given to female. It's like a title. Then there is Sophie. Sophie is the twins' half English, half Indian cousin and daughter of Chaco and Margaret. We'll be studying about the characters, then the things would be more clear. Then there is Margaret, as I told you, daughter of the English parents. Then there is Chaco, son of Machi and Pachi. Divorced first husband of Margaret is also there, and then there is and he is also uncle to Esther and Rahel, right? So he got divorced by Margaret, and by marrying Margaret they have one daughter, Sophie. We'll look at the diagram, the flow chart I have, the things would be more clear. Then we have Machi and then we have Pachi. Pachi is the grandfather. So let us look at the flow chart and the things would be more clear. So there is Pachi and there is Machi. They both are married to one another and they have one son and one daughter. There is Chaco and there is Ammu. Right. Ammu got married to first Baba, but he was very abusive. Later she will fell in love with Velotha. Right. And then they too will consummate with one another, but the only problem is that he is not of the same community and he is from a lower caste as well. So they will have two children. They are fraternal twins. There will be Rahel and Esther. Esther being the boy and Rahel being the girl. Chaco is married to Margaret. Margaret ke saath he will be divorced and they'll have one child called as Sophie, and Margaret would marry again to this person Joe, but he will eventually die as well. With them live Baby Kochamma, and she will travel with them, live with them, and she has a major role to play as well. So once what happened, gradually this is the family tree. This is how the family operates. They both have, all of them have, respect and reverence for one another. And Pachi has a pickle business, and it is Chako who has been carrying forward this pickle business. Now what happens that Ammu, though she has divorced Baba, now fell in love with another person who works in their factory only, and that name is Velutha. This person is a good looking person. This person is loved by everyone and respected because he used to work in their factory. But when once an incident happened in which they all were traveling from one place to another and they were actually going to see a movie. When they were returning, the movie's name is Sound of the Music. So Sound of Music. So when they were returning from that movie, they saw that there was a communist protest going on, and in that car there was Machi, there was Ammu, and there were baby Kochamma as well, and there was Chaka also. So in that car, when the communist fight was going on, they forced baby Kochamma to come outside, and these revolters, these protesters, forced her to say slogans. So baby Kochamma started to hate all the communist people from that time. And then after some time, when they got to know about the love relationship between Velutha, who is also a communist, and they also saw him with the Communist Party members, they decided that the love angle between Ammu and Velutha is not favorable. Hence, they locked up Ammu and Rachel and Esther also, Rahel and Esther also. So what happened, they initially, she forced the police to beat up Velutha, and the police, there were a lot of fights that were going on, and when they saw that they were all locked up, Ammu and the two children were locked up, they decided that they should just flee that place. So they decided that Rachel and Esther decided that because of a lot of fight that were going on in the family, they will just leave everyone and they will just go. And this is what they did. They just left that place. They took Sophie along with them, and they were crossing the boat, and Sophie died. So when all of these things were happening, it was baby Kochamma who thought that all the fault was of Velutha, and they started to blame him. They called the police inspector, and they beat Velutha so hard that he eventually died. So this was the incident that happened, because of which Rachel and Esther, Rahel and Esther had to split away, and they could not live with one another. But the story will go on, and you will see that even Esther would marry someone, but later they will get divorced, and later after 31 years in 1993 they will meet again. So Rahel and Esther will meet again and will make love with one another, and they will realize that there are so many problems that are going on, maybe intercaste, maybe because they were Christian and he was a communist, their father was the Velutha was a communist. Because of this, maybe the problem a problem started, and all of this will be seen there, and they will realize that it is only both of them, both these twins, who understand one another. So Baba never understood their mother Ammu, and that is how no one understood the pain of Ammu as well. No one understood that there was a love relationship between Velutha and Ammu, because they were not from the same community or from the same caste. The love was not accepted. Also at other levels also, you see that there were problems going on. So Sophie dies herself, but she was also feeling alienated. So there are other intricacies in the novel as well. So this is how you will see that this novel talks about the acceptance and non-acceptance of love. Whom to love and how to love is decided by the society only. So we have no right of our own. So God of Small Things is a novel by Arundhati Roy. It was published in 1996, and in 1997 it got the prize. It tells the story of Esther and Rahel, the twin brother and sister. Even though this novel is about the interpersonal complications of a very normal Indian family, it is also about the societal pressures and about the cultural limitations that the society has placed on us. So it addresses the issues of the Indian caste system, as well as the limitations on whom you should love and whom you cannot love. This is the most extensively sold novel ever and published in India also. One important thing, there is an epigraph of The God of Small Things, and there is a line from John Bencher: at absolutely no point in the future will a solitary story be told like it's the one to focus on. This is something you should know as well. Hence, this story that I told you is about different community people. It's about how the cultural limitations and the societal abuse causes a lot of problem. It touches upon the non-violence, about the communist parties, about the problems going on, how the older generation and the new generation have a constant struggle, how the twins struggle, and there are, this is, you find love in small things. Maybe it was the two twins that love each other, but they transgress the boundary of love, and this kind of love is not accepted. So this is what the novel talks about. Right, then The Ministry of Utmost Happiness is the second novel by the Indian author Arundhati Roy, distributed in 2017, 20 years after her presentation of The God of Small Things. It has been converted into about 50 dialects, including Urdu and Hindi. The clever winds around together the narratives of individuals exploring the absolute haziest and the most savage episodes of the current Indian history. So this novel touches about the life of the Hijra community, and it will talk about the hardships of not fitting in the lifestyle, and it will talk about the Indian history, and it will talk about the culture. So it will talk about the most savage episodes of the current Indian history, from the land change that confiscated unfortunate ranches to the 2002 Gorkha terrain consuming the Kashmir uprising. So this will also touch upon the political events of Kashmir uprising. Roy's character run array in the Indian culture. They are all submerged in the Indian culture, and of course you will see an intersex lady who's called as Hijra as a defiant engineer and living her life and trying to live her life according to herself. So Anjum, who was born in a Muslim family, is a Hijra who was born as Aftab. So Anjum, who was born as Aftab. So of course, when he was born, his father said that no, he is a boy, and I will name him as Aftab. So Aftab is basically a Hijra, and then he will convert himself into Anjum, who will live in a graveyard near the hospital. And the whole problem and the whole intricacies of the novel, the whole plot of the novel will revolve around Anjum and her love for this 3-year-old child, Zainab, and how she will love Zainab and how she will protect Zainab, right? Zainab. So The Ministry of Utmost Happiness is a very bulky and rambling story that is, and it is talking about two strands, and one will follow the story of Anjum, a Hijra, a trans woman battling to make her life happily and about herself, living secure in Delhi. The other will follow about Tilo, a woman who is very powerful and is an extremist, and there are other three men who will passionately experience love with her. So these two characters, Tilo, a woman who is an extremist, who is of course here portraying Roy herself, she will encounter three loves. How the love story would go on, whom she will love and whom not to love, again will go on here as well. And this is of course a story about Anjum, also Aftab, in the previous part of the story, who will change herself and she'll call her Anjum, and the story of how she loves this girl, this 3-year-old girl, and then she'll try to protect her in the violence she is living in Delhi, right? So this is a story that we have, The Ministry of Utmost Happiness. So I hope you understood today's lecture. Let us quickly revise it. So we discussed that Arundhati Roy has written one book called as The God of Small Things, written in 1996 and received the prize in 1997, the Booker Prize award-winning book. It is also a semi-autobiographical novel that is written by her. She is not only a writer but also an activist. She writes about the environmental concerns, she writes about non-violence and about human rights. Then we discussed that there was another book called as the Algebra of Infinite Justice, which was given the Sahitya Academy Award, the very prestigious award, but Arundhati Roy refused it because she had the tussle with the Indian government. Then there is All the Lives We Never Lived, another novel which received the prize of Sahitya Academy Award in 2022. Then I showed you the different non-fiction and the fiction work that are written by Roy. Then we discussed about the plot, and these characters are very famous. So I hope you understood this this effort that I was taking for you, and all of these novels and their plots are clear to you as well. I hope you understand that how the questions can be asked, the deeper questions can be asked, and also questions can be asked from the details. Hence, sometimes the stories, knowing the plot is also very important. So I hope you like the video, and I'll come up again and we will discuss another novelist. Thank you so much for being a patient listener. Hope you are studying. See you soon. Bye-bye.